Yeah, I mean, I think everyone definitely at the time was sleeping with everyone just because you these are the only people you had exposure to.
Hey Sarah, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you?
Fabulous. That's good. Good. Fabulous is good. And hey, welcome to Aftermath. As you know, we're interviewing people about their kind of pre, during, and post-COVID experiences. Like I just told you, I'm interested in one of the interviews coming up is with a dentist, and I'm like, okay, so what happened to you during your COVID lockdown? And the guy's going to say, well, there wasn't a lot of this. All right. Okay. So, all right. So tell me your story. Where were you like when COVID hit?
So when COVID hit, I was in Colombia, Medellin. I think I had been there for like a few months prior. And everything was normal. And then COVID hit, and I'm from Canada. So I remember the Canadian government at the time being like, everyone abroad, come home now. And I remember just thinking, like, should I leave? Should I stay? And my one biggest deciding factor, as always, is the biggest deciding factor was, well, if I'm going to be quarantined either way, I'd rather be quarantined in a warm country. So I decided to stay.
All right. And was that like a freaky thing, or you just like rolled with the punches?
Honestly, I wasn't really freaked out. I think I didn't know the severity of it like most of us did or what it was going to be like. So I just kind of went with it at the time. I was staying in a hostel. And we all got locked in. So there was like, I don't know, a group of like 15 or 20 of us, all completely of different ages and personalities. Like we had like, 60-year-old, 40-year-old, a bunch of 20-year-olds, some teens. Like it was a mix of people from a bunch of different countries coming together because they were forced to stay together all day, every day.
The, well, wait a minute. So you couldn't walk out the door, or you could walk out the door?
Actually, at some point, they didn't let us walk out the door. So the way that Colombia functioned at the time was you could go grocery shopping twice a week. That was the only thing you could do. And that was based on your ID card. So, like, they had like odd and even or whatnot. And then at some point, it got even more restricted, like 3, 7, 8, whatever. And then uh, based off of that, you could leave twice a week just to go to the grocery store and come back. And that was it.
So,
That was crazy.
I mean, I kind of describe hostel life because there are a lot of people that don't quite get it. It's not a hotel, it's not a Ritz-Carlton resort. All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
what was that life like?
So the hostel that I was staying in was called Selena. So it was pretty nice in the sense that like it was three big floors. There was a massive like office co-working space in it. And then, they had a cafeteria, and then downstairs was a bar with like a ping pong table and a basketball court, and that's just a lot of space. It was really nice actually at the time. Um and so everyone kind of started off just doing severe levels of drinking. There was a lot of drinking going on, like from morning to night, because no one knew what to do. I still had a job, so I would just go into the office and I would work throughout the day. And you just kind of pick up a routine. Like I bought a keyboard online. I started learning how to play the piano. At some point, one of the guys who was from Italy that was in there, we had guys from Australia, Italy, Colombia, Venezuela, everywhere. So one of the guys from Italy that was there was like a professional ping pong player. So, so every day after work, I would call him up like, "Hey, I'm done work. I'm ready for my ping pong lesson." And he would come down from his room, and we had like this whole setup in the front just because no one could come in, and he'd teach me how to ping pong for like an hour every day. I got super good.
So I'm trying. So why does this sound like the most pleasurable lockdown? I'm locked up with these people situation I've heard so far. I mean, am I right? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel somewhat guilty about it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like we had a lot of space, we had a whole routine, we had a kickboxing class. So at 12 o'clock every day, there would be a group of six of us, and we'd create groups of two. and we'd each person would come up with a combo, and we had gloves that we had ordered, and we'd go in the yoga patio because it was a yoga patio, and we would do kickboxing for an hour, and I'd force all the drinkers to come out of the our living room at the time, and I'd take them on the yoga studio. We would just kickbox for an hour. So we had a little schedule going throughout
All
the
right.
whole time.
Was there some form of transformation in your brain? I mean, okay, fine. Kickboxing, ping pong, Giuseppe. Was Giuseppe good looking?
Severely.
Severely good looking. Okay, we'll come back to Giuseppe in a second. So all of this really good stuff, but I mean, okay. So you're there, your family's in Canada, your friends are in other countries. I mean, was there had to be some form of oh shit. So what was the oh shit kind of experience?
Like something negative?
I'm not hearing anything negative. I mean, I'm thinking like I want to go backwards and get locked up in a hostel in Medellin, Colombia.
Well, we like rated PG here. Is
No,
this
no, no.
rated
This
R?
is go
Like,
for it. Well, you told me a long time ago what everybody, quote, everybody, unquote, did to kill time. So no, this is not PG. Go for it. No one
yeah.
will,
So
no one will find you. Don't worry about it.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone definitely at the time was sleeping with everyone just because you these are the only people you had exposure to. And so we had one main girl there that was she kind of slept with a new guy every night. So she ended up sleeping with every guy in the hostel. Like it was just a
Mhm.
new one every single time. And so then one of the guys started getting like crazy jealous of the whole thing, and he started breaking stuff when he got drunk. And then that same guy brought someone from like a, a different state in Colombia, and then she got mad. So there was a lot of like it was a reality TV show drama scene pretty much at all times, which was severely exacerbated when people were at their peak level of drunkenness by nighttime.
Right. So this sounds like more interesting. I forget the name of that MTV show from the 2000s where people lived in a house together, right?
There's quite a few of those for sure. Oh, are you talking about oh no, I forget. You're not talking about the one where it's the t-shirt time? Are you talking about that show?
No, I don't. I'm going to make an admission here. I didn't watch the shows. I mean, it just wasn't my speed. But I always thought, okay, fine, lock people up in a house, make them interact, turn the camera on. So basically, you were locked up in a house. People interacted. They boinked a bit, right? Boinked, and but there was no
Mm-hmm.
camera. So my wish would have been that I would have been the camera on the place, but then of course would have slowed everybody down. So a question I always ask is, did this did this experience change you?
Um, I wouldn't say it necessarily changed me, but I would say that for me actually it was very opportunistic, and that like the consultancy I was running at the time grew to its absolute biggest during that period because of the nature of the company, since we helped coaches at the time go online. And
Hmm.
so a lot of gyms had closed down, and so everyone wanted to figure out how they would start making money online. And since that's exactly what we helped with, our business grew really big really fast during that period of time. And then I think from like a personal level, it was just the ability to become and be resourceful when you can't do anything else, when you literally cannot leave a building for months at a time. And so like for me, I've always been good at this. I got really good at like developing some kind of a schedule. So like I said, I had my ping pong classes and my keyboard classes, and the days that I would socialize because it was a rooftop and people would go on the rooftop. So I think just seeing how I can be resourceful when things like that happen, and like
Hmm.
using it as an opportunity in some ways to acquire new skills that I otherwise wouldn't ever bother doing if I didn't have that time.
Yeah, I mean that's fantastic. So so this ends. How did it end? Like, how did you know? Okay, this is I'm going home.
Well, well, I didn't. So at the time, they were saying that there was literally no flights out to
Hmm.
anywhere. And so for the first month, no one was going anywhere. And then I think in month two or month three, I can't remember exactly, there were like emergency flights that were going out like once a week. And I decided not to take those because I didn't see any point in being, because I would speak to my friends in Canada and they were like having a really hard time. It was cold and they couldn't go places, and whatever they could do was still limited. And I'm like, well, I'm having an okay time here.
Mhm.
And because of the day of the because of like the switch thing where they had rules of like when you could go out, I had a best friend who was a graphic designer, so he would just switch my ID every day to to a different uh to a different number that was admissible for that day. So I was actually going out for walks every day because I
Uh-huh.
would switch my ID number. And I also met my boyfriend through the quarantine. So it all worked out for me.
And so this is the today boyfriend?
The today boyfriend, yeah, of
All
three
right.
years. I met him pretty much through the quarantine.
All right. So I'm okay. I mean, all right. Here's how we're going to wrap this up. You have possibly the best story I've heard. I mean, my story wasn't bad. I hung out. I wrote. I started writing more. I mean, I changed. I think I changed my life. I'm not going to say for the better, but it was a good deal. Like
Yeah,
you, I have a business that's online. So Zoom was not a uniquely. We knew what Zoom was.
yeah.
I liked that there was some interpersonal stuff, and that at some point you kind of found the right person. So I'm thinking more power to you, babe.
More quarantines. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I know. Well, it was weird. I was just looking at stats, and I'll just say this and ask if you knew this. The highest per capita death rate was in Peru, which is
Mm,
just across the border. So it's I saw that the other day. I'm going to explore it more, but I thought that was like pretty wild.
huh.
And like you, I was living in Mexico. You can come in and out of Mexico, but I couldn't go to Canada. So yeah, I understand. Or my kids in Argentina couldn't visit me. So it was crazy. But you leveraged your inability to move to get this groove.
Wow, that was such a Peter rhyme.
Yeah, I'm going back into my 60s now. Okay. Not 60s years, the really
That was
good
like dad joke material,
dad
Peter.
joke. All right, give me a break. All right, Sarah, hey, thanks a million. That was a great story. We're going to share it with 3 billion Chinese people who didn't have as much fun as you.
Amazing. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks for having me.